I remember the first time someone asked me to order an appraisal, and I was like, what is that? I don't even know what that is. So it was a lot of learning, but I feel like I picked up on it pretty quick.
You did.
And once I got to the sales side, I realized that like, this is like where I want to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I went to school for marketing. I wanted to try it out. I really did like the marketing side, but then once I came back with Kelly, I realized that this is definitely more where I want to be. I want to be more, just...
Yeah, I think it's great that she started out as a PA, because I kind of did the same thing, but back then it wasn't a production assistant. I was just a mortgage receptionist. So when you grow within the job and you learn those tasks and know what it involves, it makes you stronger as a loan officer too. Mm-hmm. So knowing what it takes, knowing what all those steps are leading up to originating, it only makes you that much stronger.
Since I was in a PA position before moving to sales, it helped me like really get the background and also understand what the ops side is doing instead of just, asking ops to do things. Like I really understand why or what they need to do.
I was right out of high school. I worked in retail and moved out on my own, was going to school and thought I could do it all. And my first month's rent came about, couldn't even pay it, so I had to call my mom. My mom's like, I'll pay it, but you better figure it out real quick. So I had a friend that worked for a builder, and she was like, my boss's friend is hiring. So I interviewed, got the job, and at first I was a construction loan officer assistant. So I did the construction side of things for a little bit. And I was always intrigued about what the mortgage people were doing on that side, because same office, different sides. And so then they could never keep a receptionist. It was high turnover. So I went and was like, hey, I would love to do 50-50. And they let me do it. And so from there, I went from being a receptionist that did pretty much a production assistant's task back then, and then worked my way up and did like a junior processor role just because they didn't have anything else open. It was a small mortgage group. And then I started originating. Shadowed a loan officer for a long time. 11 years.
She's a rock star.
Oh, appreciate that. Sometimes I'm like, are you sure you want to originate? Are you sure? She sees the day in and day out, 9 months in. I'm like,
I do, but also like you have helped me also realize how fulfilling it is as well.
It is.
Like it's almost not even a job for you. I feel like you really do enjoy what you do, even in the hard times, but like getting through that, the end goal is helping someone with the biggest decision of their life.
I don't have kids, but everybody says you forget the pain after you give birth. Like that's kind of like that with our job. Like it's bloodshed, tears all the way through. And then once they hit that closing date and they get their keys and the reaction of them getting their keys, it gives me chills now. Like it's all worth if they only knew what happened behind the scenes. It is very rewarding though.
I do think that I can see that you're very humble and appreciative of, everyone around you.
You have to want to have the heart behind it. And if you don't have the heart behind it, there's so many people you could be helping, but you just don't have the mental because all you see is the dollar sign,
But I also think that totally translates like to your buyers too. I think that people can tell. And when anyone speaks to you, they know that you're in it for the right reasons. Like you know everything about them.
The aunt's dog's name, the day they died, and everything else was all said and done.
And so I think it's really important that you can build a relationship over the phone too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you're calling them, hey, if you need help, I will meet you wherever you want. You drove to
7
Florida
o'clock on a Saturday morning.
She drove to Florida to meet with a buyer and get all of his documents. And she just does it out of the kindness of her heart. She really does. And that's what makes me know that I'm in a good place. Like learning from you, because you really are super
see the good in that, because
selfless.
Sometimes I'm like, Hannah probably thinks I'm hot box rocks, like crazy. What do you mean you're driving to Florida?
I mean, in the moment, I'm like, wait, what?
7 o'clock on a Saturday, and you're going to meet a client.
You do what it takes to get things done.
Yeah, both of those were special though, because the one guy, he is stationed in Kansas, buying his first home, like originally from Jamaica, like doesn't understand the process of anything. First generation home buyer, and like wants to know everything, every form, what he's signing. So I'm like, you know what? When do you leave? He's like 12 o'clock on Saturday. I was like, this is like Friday. We got his contract Friday afternoon. I'm like, you know what? Let's meet. We'll hurry up, get your disclosures out. I'll meet you. What time is too early on Saturday? I was thinking he'd say like 9 or 10. And he's like, well, my flight leaves at 12. So what about 7 o'clock? And I'm like, okay, 7 o'clock on Saturday, first time in history. Let's go.
One of my favorite memories that we've had within the last year that I've been working with you was actually like a month ago when I was here in the office, and you invited one of our borrowers to come sign all of her documents in-house because she could barely speak English. She had no family around. Her husband had just died, and all of the rest of her family lived in Thailand. And she was pretty much alone. And, you know, even just sitting with her and talking to her and just hearing her story, it was like really rewarding.
Oh, yeah, it's very humbling.
And she was so thankful, and she, you know, invited you over for dinner because like she was so thankful that she had someone to help her, because, I mean, she didn't have anyone else, but I mean, it's more than just a job, I feel like. You're
So
really,
that-
truly helping people in your community.
That particular borrower, she was working with another competitor and another real estate agent at that point. She's a widow, not from here. She didn't have any clue on how to obtain like her income documents. Like her husband left her, so she got all of his like VA retirement, disability, some other personnel, pension. Like she had plenty of income coming in, but didn't know how to get the documents to source it. So she's like, well, I'm just not going to own a home. She just couldn't figure out how to get any of that information, know who to contact. So she met one of my best referral partners, and she's like, look, you got to call Kelly. So I met with her here, and that was before you came. I met her one time, and we sat down, and I was like, okay, let's log into your bank account. So we had to create an online account because everything comes by mail. She lived with a friend in Colorado.
Yeah.
And then she was visiting here, knew she wanted to move here. So she didn't have any bank statements, nothing with her. So we created her an online account. And then I was like, okay, she gets disability, she gets some personnel income, Social Security, all these things. So from there, I sat on the phone, we called all of those places and created accounts, like got people to work with us to send us her supporting documents. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it took me like 3 or 4 hours that day. So we get all her income documents, and then she goes out and finds a house. She terminates 3 times before she finally closes on that house. And every time we had to start all over with her disclosures and everything. But she finally found the perfect house. She closed on it. And it was, I mean, just forget about all that and just glad to see someone achieve their goal of home ownership, you know?
But like, even when before I came and I met her, all the contracts that we were going under and then terminating, I was like, come on, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But then when I met her, I really was like, oh my gosh, like sometimes you forget because you only speak to someone on the phone. You know, they really do need help.
Yeah.
And she was so grateful. The amount of times that she was like, thank you so much, Kelly. You really did save like my life, because no one else was wanting to help me.
For those that don't know, earlier this year, we created the A-Team, Hannah and I, and ever since then, people always want to know, like, what's the difference in your roles? Like, what do I do versus what do you do?
I feel like they always, whenever I give buyers a call, they're always wondering, oh, I thought I was working with Kelly. And I'm like, you're working with me too, because we go hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, what would you say your
So I would say
roles
that
are?
my roles are building the relationships with our referral partners, builders, closing attorneys, attending functions throughout the month, still like financially advising our borrowers, structuring a file, reviewing everything to make sure that we can get that loan to the closing table, having the rate discussions, going over the programs and making sure that they're comfortable with the upfront terms of the loan. And still always advise that, even though we're bringing Hannah on, I'm still a point of contact just as Hannah is, and we'll both be there to see you through to the closing.
I think it's important that, we do have different roles, but we're working hand in hand. Like, I can pick up whenever you need help with anything that you're doing, and vice versa. Like, once we get a contract, I kind of take it over from there. But like, if I'm super busy, then you can help with that too. But if you're super busy, I'm completely comfortable with doing a pre-approval, pre-qual, anything like that.
I always like, you're always available behind the scenes, like you're boots on the ground essentially, where people can still call you and get their pre-qualification letter updated or run a payment estimate if they're out looking at properties, if I'm not always in front of the computer.
Because you're busy. You have a lot of agents that you work with, and you have a lot of relationships to maintain. On the buying side. So, and two, like, I always want people to know you're more than like a loan officer assistant. Like, I consider you my loan partner. Like, when we look at a file together, I always say 2 heads are better than 1. Like, we have 2 of us, 2 sets of eyes, looking and making sure that we give you the best loan products available, and that, again, you're comfortable with those terms, and knowing that both of us know where we're at on the same page with every file that we have. We have, I call it my huddle with Hannah. It's like 9:15 prompt every morning. We meet, we go over, we delegate to see who's going to do what, the time frame, the sense of urgency, and that's important so that we make sure that we hit everybody's expectations. Nothing slipping through the cracks.
Because
it is, you're a human doing a human job. Like, obviously, like, things happen, but I think having an extra set of eyes really helps, alleviate any mishaps. But,
and we also, like, I always enjoy, like, our team development. So team development on Friday mornings, where we go through and say, okay, what could we have fixed? What could have went better this past week? And then implement that into our daily, system as well. We always want to make sure that we provide the best client experience. And we are human, and we do make mistakes, but we learn from our mistakes and we take it from there. And another thing is, I like to know that we're all local. Like, we work as a team, we're in the communities. You're remote mostly, but we are local to the areas that we serve. And I think that's important, that people know that we're not like just a paper pusher with another company just trying to get you in the door and closed as soon as possible.
I think that's also another big thing, because when I talk to any of our buyers, most of them are first-time home buyers. They have no idea anything about the process until you first have a conversation with them, and it can be really overwhelming for them. I've never bought a house, but if I wasn't in this business, I'm sure I would be just as confused. But I think having real people to talk to and talk you through it, and not just treat them like another paycheck. I think that developing a relationship with them, making sure that they are confident that we have their best interests in mind, rather than our own. I think building that trust is really important, and I think having both of us doing that helps ease a lot of their concerns. And usually after closing, most of our first-time home buyers are like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I was really scared going into this, but you guys made it so easy. And that's really how it's supposed to be, as long as you're having an open line of communication the whole time.
And I think
it's not that hard.
Like, our team is just that much better because both of our values align. Like, we both, at the end of the day, have the same, we want the same end result. So I think that sets ourselves aside from the rest. As a loan officer, like, I've built relationships, and it's important that I continue building relationships, and new and old, and over the years, my referral partners, they're not just somebody that I work with. Like we've become good friends. Some of them were best of friends, and I'm in the weddings, go to the baby showers, and not just our referral partners, but our closing attorneys and builders, and it's just important to me to build that rapport with people and to know that the job is still getting done on the back end.
I will say the first time that I came to visit you here in Savannah a couple months ago, when I went with you all around town to meet all of your agents, closing attorneys, builders, all of your contacts, basically every single one of your phone contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I met them all, and it didn't surprise me, but they're all your best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I really do love about you is you take everyone in as family, but also like they treat you the same way because they can trust you with their jobs, their livelihood, everything. And they're the kind of people that will text you on a random day and, hey, you want to go get dinner? And it's not for any sort of transactional benefit. It's like they genuinely love you because you've really shown them who you are as a person, but also the benefit of you guys can do work together.
That's sweet. I will say one of our agents called this morning. She's like, I just had to call and hear your voice. It's been all the weekend. I haven't heard from you, so I just wanted to make sure you're doing okay. So it does make me feel good.
Yeah.
And I do value their relationships also. And, at this point, obviously we're always looking to grow and want more business, but too, it's important that we work with just as genuine people and have the same values as we do.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, so many people are just in it and for all the wrong reasons. And so I like to know that we work with the best of the best, and anytime we can get that referral and pay it back to one of our agents, we know they're in good hands. I can say that I don't think we work with a realtor or builder that couldn't build us a house or that I wouldn't trust with our own home buying.
The biggest mistake that I think a buyer could make is just not being fully transparent from the get-go. I think if you're going through the pre-qual questions with them or the whole application, they're leaving things out, things that are going to come up later on in the process and delay a closing. That's the first thing that you say.
Right.
Tell the truth, tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Right. I learned very early on, gosh, it was probably my first 6 months of my career. And I went through the declarations and asked certain questions. And one of them is, do you pay child support? He's like, no, I don't. So
they don't think that we would
get the pay stubs. And again, I'm early on in my career and I'll never make this mistake again. Submit the file to underwriting. And it's like, Kelly, there's a garnishment here. And so dig a little deeper in the garnishment. It's child support. Things people are going to find out. So, just be honest.
Yeah. And I think that even just being I've never bought a house. So before I've gotten into this business, me applying for an apartment, they're not really looking through all of your stuff. You can send a pay stub from 3 months ago and they're not going to question it. And
right.
It's a completely different ball game. And I think that especially first time home buyers, I don't think they understand what comes with the process, that they don't understand the entire thing and how thorough it actually is. Mm-hmm. So, I think that we do a good job of being fully upfront, letting them know this is what's going to happen step by step. I know it sounds overwhelming, but you need to trust us. You need to listen to us because we're on your side. We want you to close just as much as you want to close. We want you to get those keys. We want you to have, a good experience. So if you're transparent with us, it'll make advice.
So another thing is I think people, they don't plan to buy a house. They don't sit down or they don't realize what it takes to buy a house, first of all, and then to plan and really create a budget and know that, of course, generally we can get you pre-qualified for more on paper than what you want to spend in reality. We take into consider gross income. We don't look at all the insurance and the taxes and everything that you have coming out or utilities, things like that. So I feel like putting that thought paper and really writing a budget of what your actual expenses are is the first thing that a home buyer should do before they ever look at purchasing a home or going out with a realtor.
Do you think that sometimes when you are issuing a pre-approval, and like, oh, we can go up to, let's say, 400,000. Do you think they're always quick to be like, yes, now let me go find a $400,000 house. Like I want the most of what I can get.
Some people do. And then those are the ones that are in 6 months struggling to make a payment. And I always go through and explain what's involved with the monthly payment, as do you, like principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And then the question we always ask is, are you comfortable with that payment?
Yeah.
And sometimes they say, yes, send me every $400,000 house. And then some are like, no, I'm more comfortable with a payment at $1,500. And knowing that helps us say, okay, if you want a payment of $1,500, you need to be looking at a sales price within this amount in this county, because taxes and insurance play effect into that. And then we can consult with your real estate agent and say, hey, we have him pre-qualified up for, $250, but he's really comfortable with a payment of $1,500, which puts him at a sales price of X amount. Yeah. And that's helpful too.
Going off of what you said a little bit ago about, the different parts of your mortgage payment, it's not just your mortgage payment. It's, you have the interest, insurance, taxes. Can you elaborate for, someone who might be wondering, a first-time home buyer who doesn't know what all is included in that monthly payment?
Sure. So that's a good point. So it depends on the loan program. So for example, on a VA loan, it's 100% financing, but every loan does have a VA funding fee unless you're considered a disabled veteran or a Purple Heart recipient. So as you mentioned, monthly payments consist of your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. It depends on the type of loan that you're getting, as if you need like monthly mortgage insurance for like an FHA or USDA loan, or private mortgage insurance if you're getting a conventional loan. Other things that people might not realize is like on a VA loan, it's 100% financing, but most always you're going to have a funding fee that gets financed back into the loan. So the VA funding fee for first-time use is 2.15%. Subsequent use is 3.3%. Now, that'll be in your monthly payment. It's financed into the loan. So the funding fee is financed back into your loan. Mm-hmm. So it's added to your loan. It's your sales price, add your funding fee, gives you your total loan amount. Okay. On a VA loan.
I feel like some people always think that they're paying that funding fee up front. So yeah, I feel like that's a good tip.
Now if you're a disabled veteran or a Purple Heart recipient, then you would be exempt from having to pay those funding fees. And I know it is a little confusing because on the loan estimate, it does add the funding fee into your closing costs, and then gets subtracted down at the bottom when it's calculating your cash to close. And then on FHA and USDA, you still have like an upfront mortgage insurance premium that we add back to your loan amount and gives us your final total loan amount. And then there you have the monthly mortgage insurance on both of those loan products. So
when you send, or when I guess we send the initial loan estimate to the borrower, how do you like to explain how the numbers work? Because obviously the first loan estimate isn't going to be the final, and the numbers do change. Right. And how do you talk to your borrowers and let them know, hey, this isn't final, but also like don't freak out if it goes up a little bit. And if you are going to freak out over it, maybe we need to rework some things.
So with when you go under contract, and then we send you your initial disclosure package, I always tell people to look for the form that's labeled loan estimate, and it gives the breakdown of all the closing costs, your monthly payment, etc. So I always start by saying, one, this is just a loan estimate. Certain things are going to remain the same, fixed throughout the whole process. Other things are going to change. So one, it's always important to start looking for your homeowner's insurance immediately. making sure what we are estimating is, we always like to try and estimate on the conservative side, but we obviously don't know your history as far as like your rental history, if you had insurance, or your car insurance history. Credit score affects that. The type of property will always affect what your actual homeowner's insurance is going to be. So shopping for that up front is very important. I always give people, once they get that loan estimate, I'll always encourage for us to set up a time and either meet or schedule like a Zoom call or go over the forms over the phone together and make sure that we're going line by line by the loan estimate and letting them know, again, what changes, what's going to stay the same, what's in our control, what's not in our control.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just an estimate. So, but we do want to make sure that all of our buyers are aware of what they're getting into, making sure everything's correct, making sure that what the information that shows on their application is true, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. After talking about what the buyers can expect from us, on the flip side of that, how can a buyer or how can our clients make the process easier for themselves? Like if we're going through the process and if there's a couple things that they need to be aware of or they need to avoid doing, what would you say is the biggest thing?
One of the things is, if you're an hourly employee, ensuring that you hit that 40 hours a week every week on your pay stubs is important. If you're guaranteed 35 hours a week, just make sure you hit however many hours a week you're guaranteed to work. The other thing is, we never go through and do an extensive look of what you spend your money on your bank statements. However, it's like our eyes are trained to look for non-payroll deposits, any of the buy now, pay later, so like the Klarnas and Affirms.
That's a big
really,
one.
yes. If you're looking for a stress-free mortgage experience, then definitely hitting those hours, your bank statements, avoiding all of the large deposits, right? And in the mortgage world, cash cannot be sourced. So ensuring that the money is seasoned in the account, no large payrolls from your grandmother's friend, not buying everything on a buy now, pay later
That'll bite you.
system.
Yeah.
It will bite you. That's still debts that we have to count in your debt to income ratio.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is if you you have to have $5,000 the day of closing, and we're submitting your application to underwriting with $2,000. It's important to communicate where that money is going to come from, ensuring that we're requesting it from your 401k in time or from your donor if you're receiving a gift, and knowing that money can be sourced and we can get the paper trail is always important.
Yeah. And that does sound like a lot. Like when you repeat it back, I feel like it's overwhelming to hear.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're constantly reminding our clients over and over.
Right.
So it's not something that they can forget, actually.
Right.
It depends on if they're going to listen to it or not.
Yeah. And, it starts from like when I call and congratulate them from going under contract. You get the file and call and introduce yourself. You go through the email and hit the points of what to expect, who to expect it from, give them links. And
also letting them know that, I mean,
it's
this is
shocking the amount of people that you can tell them, I can tell them, but they still don't read that email, even though it starts with important notices, please read, or however we started off. So really just, communicate with us. If you have questions, give us a call. Don't panic. Give us a call and we'll walk you through it.
We will try to help you through anything, any questions that you have, any concerns that you have. I want to take that off your back. So you can just worry about, dreaming up what color you want to paint your living room. Right. But, I think we have a good system going. We're going on a year working together, and I think it's been really nice getting into a groove and having good relationships with our buyers.
Yeah.
So
Likewise.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you for making the 18.